Hello and welcome to Master Mathematics. My name is Mr. A, and in this video you are going to learn how to subtract fractions. So subtracting fractions, the steps are very similar to adding fractions. We have 3 steps here. Step 1 has 2 parts to it, but before we get into the steps, I just want you to look to the right of your screen here where you see this little image. I have a fraction here. The fraction is 3/5, and just have 2 parts pointed out here. So the 3, or the top number, that's what's known as the numerator, and the bottom number, the 5, that's what's known as the denominator. Throughout this video, I'm going to be referring to numbers as the numerator or denominator, not the top number, not the bottom number. So just make sure you're familiar with those terms. So step 1, you are going to check to see if the denominators are the same or different. So the majority of the time, your denominators are most likely going to be different. All right, especially as you're working on problems in school and things like that. The denominator is probably going to be different, but as step 1A says, if the denominators are the same, you're going to go directly on to step 2. But for the sake of this video and the examples we are going to do, the denominators are not going to be the same, so I want to go through the rest of the steps with you. If the denominators are different, find a common denominator by multiplying them together. So going on to step B, so after you look at your fractions, you see 2 different denominators, you multiply those denominators to get a common denominator. And then what you do to the denominator, you must also do to the numerator. This means you need to multiply the numerator by the same number you multiplied the denominator. So you'll see this in our examples when we work through it. One example is 3/4 minus 1/2. So you have to multiply the denominator, and 3/4 is 4, the denominator and 1/2 is 2. You have to multiply those 2 numbers together, but then you also need to do whatever you multiply the 4 by, you also need to multiply the numerator by that number. So I know explaining it, maybe you're like, I am not too sure. Just hold on until we get to the examples because we're going to get there in a moment. All right, now step 2. After you've multiplied the numerator and the denominator by the same number, you are going to subtract the numerators. The denominator does not change. All right, the denominator is now in a like fraction. The denominators are the same. Only the numerators you're going to subtract. In the answer, the denominator is going to stay the same. All right. Sure, if you simplify it, the denominator might change, but when you do the subtraction, the denominator does not. And then step 3, you are going to simplify the fraction. So at this time, let's take a look at our examples so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. All right, our first example here is 3/4 minus 1/2. So I'm going to rewrite these. This way, it's a little easier to work with, and this way you can see when I'm multiplying by what. So we have 3/4 minus 1/2. All right, so step 1, we had to check to see if the denominators were the same or if they are different. Obviously, 4 and 2 are different. So now, step 1A, we need to multiply them by each other. I'm going to use a different colored pen here so you can see the multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 4 by 2, and I'm going to multiply 2 by 4. All right. And then I'm going to do the multiplication here. So 4 times 2 is 8. And this is going to be my first fraction. And then 2 times 4, of course, is also 8. So now my denominators are the same, which is exactly what we want. However, like I said in the example, what we do to the denominator, we also have to do to the numerator. So we have to multiply 3 by 2, and we have to multiply 1 by 4. And I'm going to work that out and just fill those in below. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then 1 times 4 is 4. So now we have 6/8 minus 4/8. And again, denominators stay the same. So I'm going to bring that denominator of 8 over right now. And then it's just some basic math. 6 minus 4 is 2. All right, 2/8. Now, can 2/8 be simplified? This is the third and final step. You have to ask yourself, can the fraction be simplified? In this case, yes, it can. 2 and 8 share a common, they're both divisible by 2. So 2, of course, divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So our answer there is 1/4. Awesome. Let's move on to our second example. In the second example, we have 4/5 minus 2/3. Again, I'm going to rewrite the numbers, or the fractions, I should say, so this way we can see them and work with them a little easier. So I have 4/5 minus 2/3. And I almost forgot to say, if you feel comfortable with this, pause the video right now. Try subtracting these two fractions. Try subtracting 4/5 and 2/3. Pause it, work it out, and then when you think you're done, hit play again, come back to it. Also, while you have the video paused, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get back into this example. So 4/5 minus 2/3. We check to see, are the denominators the same? No, they are not. 5 and 3 are two different numbers. So we have to multiply them together. So 5 times 3, and then we're going to have 3 times 5. Awesome. And let's get this. Let's do that first. So 3 times 5 is 15. That's the first fraction there. Second fraction, 3 times 5, also 15. Write that down there. And then let's not forget, what we do to the denominator, we also need to do to the numerator. So we're going to have 4 times 3, and then we're going to have 2 times 5. All right, not too bad right now, right? It's just a lot of steps. Just got to make sure that you're doing all of them. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then 2 times 5 is 10. And remember, now we are going to subtract. This is step number 2, but we subtract the numerators only. So I'm going to bring over my denominator, and then 12 minus 10 is 2. And 2/15, guess what? That cannot be simplified at all. So step number 3 is already done for you. So your answer there is 2/15. That's it. That is how you simplify, or I should say subtract, fractions. My name is Mr. A. This channel is Master Mathematics. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for watching. Like I said earlier, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.